Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. Today I'm going to read to you some sonnets. Whoops, not these sonnets. Some sonnets written by the great Claude McKay. Now this will be the second in a series of sonnets from this book. So the first reading covered the first 21 sonnets. This reading will cover 23 sonnets. The book is divided into sections. You have songs for Jamaica, baptism, Americana, different places, and then on the other side of the leaf you have Amoroso. So these sonnets that I will read will begin with the section titled Americana, and the first sonnet is titled America, a very well-known sonnet by McKay. I closed my previous McKay sonnet video with a couple of my own sonnets from this book. One of them, if you have that fresh in your memory, you will hear a line that I referenced. I think my poem said gaudy treasures, and the McKay poem says priceless treasures. If I can find the section. Well, I guess a table of contents would get me there. 59. Yeah, there we are. America. Although she feeds me bread, let me start again. America. Although she feeds me bread of bitterness and sinks into my throat her tiger's tooth, stealing my breath of life, I will confess, I love this cultured hell that tests my youth. Her vigor flows like tides into my blood, giving me strength erect against her hate. Her bigness sweeps my being like a flood. Yet, as a rebel fronts a king in state, I stand within her walls with not a shred of terror, malice, not a word of jeer. Darkly I gaze into the days ahead and see her might and granite wonders there, beneath the touch of time's unerring hand, like priceless treasures sinking in the sand. So we are living in a day of sinking, priceless treasures sinking. This one is also very well known, very much anthologized. The Harlem Dancer. Applauding youths laughed with young prostitutes and watched her perfect, half-clothed body sway. Her voice was like the sound of blended flutes blown by black players upon a picnic day. She sang and danced on gracefully and calm, the light gauze hanging loose about her form. To me, she seemed a proudly swaying palm, grown lovelier for passing through a storm. Upon her swarthy neck, black shiny curls luxuriant fell, and tossing coins in praise, the wine-flushed, bold-eyed boys, and even the girls, devoured her shape with eager, passionate gaze. But looking at her falsely smiling face, I knew herself was not in that strange place. This is Claude McKay's complete poems. I do not recommend this book unless you really want to do a deep dive into this poet. This selected edition contains no clunkers at all, really. There's a few that require some getting adjusted to, but absolutely no clunkers. I've lived with these poems for a long time. Almost everything else that's in this book can easily be passed. That does not detract at all from my high esteem of Claude McKay. Prior to the sonnet video, I did another video in which I just rambled on about the poet. I will put links to these into the description box, as well as other pertinent sonnet matter. In that video, I talk about the great influence that Claude McKay has had on my poetry. He is the preeminent iambic pentameter writer in English of his day, as well as being the premier sonneteer. Though I don't know how much credit he has been given for that. This one is titled On the Road. Roar of the rushing train, fearfully rocking, impatient people jammed in line for food, the rasping noise of cars together knocking, and worried waiters, some in ugly mood, crowding into the choking pantry hole to call out dishes for each angry glutton, exasperated grown beyond control from waiting for his soup or fish or mutton. At last the station's reached, the engine stops. For bags and wraps, the red caps circle round. From off the step the passenger lightly hops and seeks his cab or tramcar homeward bound. The waiters pass out weary, listless, glum, to spend their tips on harlots, cards, and rum. McKay himself worked for the railroad. I forget in what capacity. I think as a waiter in the train restaurant, the car restaurant. And as a matter of fact, there is an anecdote. His great poem, his most famous poem, If We Must Die, was something, and that's in the last video, was something that he composed whilst working on the train, and even showed it to his mates, and they were all impressed with it. I've read this next one before on this channel more than once. Dawn in New York. The dawn, the crimson tinted comes out of the low still skies over the hills, Manhattan's roofs and spires and cheerless domes. The dawn, my spirit to its spirit thrills. Almost the mighty city is asleep. No pushing crowd, no tramping feet. But here and there a few cars groaning creep along above and underneath the street, bearing their strangely ghostly burdens by. The women and the men of garish nights, their eyes wine weakened and their clothes awry, grotesques beneath the strong electric lights. The shadows wane, the dawn comes to New York, and I go darkly rebel to my work. The next poem in the volume is titled The City's Love. I will not read it, but I always imagine it to be the octet of an incomplete sonnet, but I won't read that. Perhaps I'll come back at the end and do that. To Winter. Stay, season of calm love and soulful snows. There is a subtle sweetness in the sun, that the ripples on the stream's breast gaily run. The wind more boisterously by me blows, and each succeeding day now longer grows. The birds a gladder music have begun, the squirrel full of mischief and of fun, from maple's topmost branch the brown twig. I'm going to read this one again. Sorry, I'm just tongue twisted. It's very interesting because it's not a typical sonnet form for McKay. It's a Petrarchan sonnet to winter. Stay, season of calm love and soulful snows. There is a subtle sweetness in the sun. The ripples on the stream's breast gaily run. The wind more boisterously by me blows, and each succeeding day now longer grows. The birds a gladder music have begun. The squirrel full of mischief and of fun, from maple's topmost branch the brown twig throws. I read these pregnant signs, know what they mean. I know, cool winter, you intend to go. Oh, stay! I fled a land where fields are green always, and palms wave gently to and fro, and winds are balmy, blue brooks ever sheen, to ease my heart of its impassioned woe. And The Castaways, probably the poem of McKay's that I've read most frequently on this channel. The vivid grass with visible delight, springing triumphant from the pregnant earth, the butterflies and sparrows in brief flight, dancing and chirping for the season's birth, the dandelions and rare daffodils that touch the deep stirred heart with hands of gold, the thrushes sending forth their joyous trills. Not these did I at first behold, but seated on the benches daubed with green, the castaways of life, a few asleep, some withered women, desolate and mean, and over all life's shadows dark and deep. Moaning, I turned away, for misery I have the strength to bear, but not to see. What a poignant display of empathy, a quality which our would-be fascist overlords deign a weakness. Empathy is a fault, a vice to be rooted out, according to the rich gluttonous and timid hearts of those men in Washington that are trying to strip the rest of us of our rights as democratic citizens, and have already begun to strip the constitutional rights away from largely immigrants, but also from citizens as well. So non-citizens and citizens, all of our rights are under threat. All of our rights teeter very precariously at this time. And of course, Claude McKay, I Googled it and found out that he became a naturalized citizen in 1940. I had forgotten. I've read his biography, more than once. He is the kind of person, he was an immigrant from Jamaica, a place that our current president, Donald Trump, would likely refer to as a shithole country. And he is our sublime poet, the poet of America. This one is another one that I don't think I've read it so much on this channel, but it's had a marked impact on my own sonnets, at least one of them in that book I showed you, The White City. I will not toy with it, nor bend an inch. Deep in the secret chambers of my heart, I muse my lifelong hate, and without flinch, I bear it nobly as I live my part. My being would be a skeleton, a shell, if this dark passion that fills my every mood and makes my heaven in the white world's hell did not forever feed me vital blood. I see the mighty city through a mist, the strident trains that speed the goaded mass, the poles and spires and towers vapor-kissed, the fortressed port through which the great ships pass, the tides, the wharves, the dens I contemplate are sweet like wanton loves because I hate. The next one is titled The White House, and he gives a footnote to it. My title was symbolic. It had no reference to the official residence of, well, I don't know if he gave the footnote or if this was put there by the editor from something else. Oh, yeah, it is. It's from A Long Way From Home, his memoir. My title was symbolic. It had no reference to the official residence of the President of the United States. The title, White Houses, changed the whole symbolic intent and meaning of the poem, making it appear as if the burning ambition of the black malcontent was to enter white houses in general. Claude McKay, A Long Way From Home, 1937. The White House. Your door is shut against my tightened face, and I am sharp as steel with discontent. But I possess the courage and the grace to bear my anger proudly and unbent. The pavement slabs burn loose beneath my feet, a chafing savage down the decent street, and passion rends my vitals as I pass, where boldly shines your shuttered door of glass. Oh, I must search for wisdom every hour, deep in my wrathful bosom sore and raw, and find in it the superhuman power to hold me to the letter of your law. Oh, I must keep my heart inviolate against the potent poison of your hate. And next, The Tired Worker. Oh, whisper, oh my soul, the afternoon is waning into evening. Whisper soft, peace, O my rebel heart, for soon the moon from out its misty veil will swing aloft. Be patient, weary body, soon the night will wrap thee gently in her sable sheet, and with a leaden sigh thou wilt invite to rest thy tired hands and aching feet. The wretched day was theirs, the night is mine. Come, tender sleep, and fold me to thy breast. But what steals out the gray clouds, red like wine? O dawn, O dreaded dawn, O let me rest, weary my veins, my brain, my life, have pity. No, once again the harsh, the ugly city. The next set, and I think I referred to them somewhere as sort of travel log poems. These are the poems in the sonnet form, which, to the best of my knowledge, is the form Claude McKay himself invented. I think there are more of these in the complete poems, but I haven't really checked through them thoroughly since a long time ago first reading of the book. Moscow. Moscow, for many loving her, was dead, and yet I saw a bright Byzantine fair of jeweled buildings, pillars, domes, and spires, of hues prismatic dazzling to the sight, a glory painted on the eastern air, of amorous sounding tones like passionate lyres, all colors laughing richly their delight, and reigning over all the color red. My memory bears engraved the high-walled Kremlin, of halls symbolic of the tiger will, of czarist instruments of mindless law. And often now my nerves throb with the thrill when in that gilded place I felt and saw the presence and the simple voice of Lenin. His trip to Russia is treated more fully in his biographies. My favorite biography is the one by Wayne Cooper. I think it's Rebel Sojourner. I can't remember the title. The author is Wayne Cooper. I'll just read you a little bit from the biographical note by Max Eastman. His poems led to our meeting, and in a few years he became my associate editor on The Liberator, a socialist magazine of art and literature. We were together in Moscow in 1923, both sympathetic to the Bolshevik Revolution, both unofficial visitors, however, and not fanatical. There being no Negroes in Russia, and one very much needed to demonstrate the new race solidarity, Claude was taken up and played up to a degree that would have turned the head of anyone not endowed at birth with those skeptical eyebrows. Adopted as a kind of mascot by the Red Army and Navy, entertained everywhere at the state's expense, given a Grand Duke's bedroom and study to live and work in, exhibited on tribunes with the great leaders and orators of the Revolution, Claude certainly had the time of his life. But his mind was in command. He saw clearly the authoritarian mechanism behind these spontaneous demonstrations, the regimentation, the bigotry, the sacrifice of personal dignity to the momentary needs of the state. In midstream of that flood of officially sponsored adulation in which a less independent mind would have gone down, he composed a sonnet to St. Isaac's Church in Petrograd, which asserts in sublime opposition to the whole trend and essence of it, the divinity of the individual man. That sonnet is, of course, just around the corner for you. It is funny that in the United States of America, people have been taking Russia as its ideal, as people have been taking Russia as their ideal. People, particularly of the so-called MAGA faction, the Make America Great faction, the faction which has supported Donald Trump and his fascists. Oh, that's the very next one. St. Isaac's Church, Petrograd. Bow down, my soul, in worship very low, and in the holy silences be lost. Bow down before the marble man of woe. Bow down before the singing angel host. What jeweled glory fills my spirit's eye? What golden grandeur moves the depths of me? The soaring arches lift me up on high, taking my breath with their rare symmetry. Bow down, my soul, and let the wondrous light of beauty bathe thee from her lofty throne. Bow down before the wonder of man's might. Bow down in worship, humble and alone. Bow lowly down before the sacred sight of man's divinity alive in stone. The next one, Barcelona, is a trio of poems strung together. Titled Barcelona. In Barcelona city, they dance the nights along the streets. The folk erecting stands upon the people's pavements, come together from pueblo, barrio, in families, lured by the lilting playing of the bands, rejoicing in the balmy summer weather. In spreading rings they weave fine fantasies, like rare mosaics of many colored lights. Kindled it glows, the magical sardana, and sweeps the city in a glorious blaze. The garrison, the sailors from the ships, the workers join and block the city's ways, ripe laughter ringing from intriguing lips, crescending like a wonderful hosanna. O admirable city from every range, whether I stand upon your natural towers, with your blue carpet spreading to their feet, its patterns undulate between the bars, watching until the tender twilight hours, its motion cradling soft as silver fleet, or far descend from underneath the stars, down to your bottoms sinister and strange. The nights eccentric of the barrio chino, the creatures of the shadows of the walls, gray like the savage caricatures of Goya, the chulos of the abysmal dancing halls, and in the garish lights of La Criolla, the feminine flamenco of El Nino. O Barcelona, queen of Europe's cities, from dulcet thoughts of you my guts are twisted with bitter pain of longing for your sights and for your hills, your picturesque glory singing. My feet are mutinous, mine eyes are misted. Upon my happy thoughts, your harbor lights are shimmering like bells melodious ringing, with sweet cadenzas of flamenco ditties. I see your movement flashing like a knife, reeling my senses, drunk upon the hues of motion, the eternal rainbow wheel, your passion smoldering like a lighted fuse. But more than all sensations, oh, I feel your color flaming in the dance of life. And then geographically, we move a step to where I think Claude's heart truly lay. This book is magnificently well put together also. This next poem will be followed by a poem which is not a sonnet, and perhaps I will read that on another day, but it segues very nicely after this sonnet titled Tetuan. Morocco conquering homage paid to Spain, and the Alhambra lifted up its towers. Africa's fingers tipped with miracles and quivering with Arabian designs, traced words and figures like exotic flowers, sultanas' chambers of rare tapestries, filigree marvels from Quranic lines, mosaics chanting notes like tropic rain. And Spain repaid the tribute ages after to Tetuan, that fort of struggle and strife, where chagrined Andalusian Moors retired. She brought a fountain bubbling with new life, whose jeweled charm won even the native pride, and filled it sparkling with flamenco laughter. Just what a marvelous grasp. The next poem is also a linked pair, two sonnets. The title is The Snow Fairy. Throughout the afternoon, I watched them there, snow fairies falling from the sky, whirling fantastic in the misty air, contending fierce for space supremacy. And they flew down a mightier force at night, as though in heaven there was revolt and riot, and they, frail things, had taken panic flight down to the calm earth, seeking peace and quiet. I went to bed and rose at early dawn to see them huddled together in a heap, each merged into the other upon the lawn, worn out by the sharp struggle, fast asleep. The sun shone brightly on them half the day. By night they stealthily had stolen away. And suddenly my thought then turned to you, who came to me upon a winter's night, when snow sprites round my attic window flew, your hair disheveled, eyes aglow with light. My heart was like the weather when you came. The wanton winds were blowing loud and long, but you, with joy and passion all aflame, you danced and sang a lilting summer song. I made room for you in my little bed, took covers from the closet fresh and warm, a gentle pillow for your scented head, and lay down with you resting in my arm. You went with dawn. You left before the day, the lonely actor of a dreamy play. The next, also a pair, titled 1 Year After. Not once in all our days of poignant love did I a single instant give to thee my undivided being wholly free. Not all thy potent passion could remove the barrier that loomed between to prove the full supreme surrendering of me. Oh, I was beaten, helpless utterly against the shadow fact with which I strove. For when a cruel power forced me to face the truth which poisoned our illicit wine, that even I was faithless to my race, bleeding beneath the iron hand of thine, our union seemed a monstrous thing and base. I was an outcast from thy world and mine. Adventure seasoned and storm buffeted, I shun all signs of anchorage, because the zest of life exceeds the bound of laws. New gales of tropic fury round my head break, lashing me through hours of soulful dread. But when the terror thins and spent withdraws, leaving me wondering a while, I pause. But soon again the risky ways I tread. No rigid road for me, no peace, no rest, while molten elements run through my blood, and beauty-burning bodies manifest their warm, heart-melting motions to be wooed, and passion boldly rising in my breast like rivers of the spring lets loose its flood. It's just amazing how this book, a selection, how the unity of theme or themes is irreproachable. There is just no fault, no flaw to this compilation. Futility. Oh, I have tried to laugh the pain away. Let new flames brush my love springs like a feather. But the old fever seizes me today, as sickness grips a soul in wretched weather. I have given up myself to every urge, with not a care of precious powers spent, have bared my body to the strangest scourge, to soothe and deaden my heart's unhealing rent. But you have torn a nerve out of my frame, a gut that no physician can replace, and reft my life of happiness and aim. Oh, what new purpose shall I now embrace? What substance hold? What lovely form pursue, when my thought burns through everything to you? And a final pair titled Through Agony. All night, through the eternity of night, pain was my portion, though I could not feel. Deep in my humbled heart, you ground your heel, till I was reft of even my inner light, till reason from my mind had taken flight, and all my world went whirling in a reel, and all my swarthy strength turned cold like steel, a passive mass beneath your puny might. Last night I gave you triumph over me, so I should be myself as once before. I marveled at your shallow mystery, and haunted hungrily your temple door. I gave you sum and substance to be free. Oh, you shall never triumph any more. I do not fear to face the fact and say, How darkly dull my living hours have grown. My wounded heart sinks heavier than stone, because I loved you longer than a day. I do not shame to turn myself away from beckoning flowers beautifully blown, to mourn your vivid memory alone in mountain fastnesses austerely gray. The mists will shroud me on the utter height. The salty, brimming waters of my breast will mingle with the fresh dews of the night to bathe my spirit hankering to rest. But after sleep I'll wake with greater might, once more to venture on the eternal quest. As I say, our present administration, pre-citizenship, would have Claude rounded up and sent God knows where. We are constructing concentration camps here in the United States of America. And yet not so much as a fist has been raised in protest by the general populace. That's an exaggeration. There is a lot of protest going on, a lot of dissent, a lot of non-compliance and malicious compliance, to use the correct vocabulary. People are contravening this vile plan. And I am not suggesting a violent response when I say shaking a fist. This notion of revoking citizenship just like that, it's truly an abomination to the spirit of our way of life, basically, the spirit of our charter, if you will. A final sonnet from Claude McKay. Thirst. My spirit wails for water, water now. My tongue is aching dry, my throat is hot for water, fresh rain shaken from a bough, or dawn dews heavy in some leafy spot. My hungry body's burning for a swim in sunlit water where the air is cool, as in Trout Valley, where upon a limb the golden finch sings sweetly to the pool. Oh, water, water, when the night is done, when day steals gray-white through the window pane, clear silver water when I wake alone, all impotent of parts, of fevered brain. Pure water from a forest fountain first, to wash me, cleanse me, and to quench my thirst. The great American poet, Claude McKay. I will probably post his non-sonnet poems in a future reading. Earlier, I posted a reading of 20 sonnets by George Santayana, also an immigrant. He was brought here at the age of 7 or 8, the kind of person that would be in some kind of Venezuelan prison or down in the Everglades at Alligator Auschwitz. Perhaps I will consider some more of his sonnets as well. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.